Kerry King just dropped his first solo album, From Hell I Rise, and in this album review I'm gonna check out if there is something new here or just a continuation of Slayer. What's good, what's bad, where's the bass, what about that singer, and what happened to the good old uncomfortable Slayer guitar solos. So this project started already back in 2020. Slayer just ended their touring in 2019, and back then Kerry King and Paul Bostaph both said publicly that they were working on material, and they admitted back then it's gonna sound a lot like Slayer. Now, I've been a Slayer fan since I was a teenager, and I kind of went with the band all the way up to kind of Divine Intervention. After that, I kind of felt that there was just 2 to 3 songs good per album. So I wasn't exactly losing my shit that I knew that Kerry King was coming out of the album. Plus, he was never my guy in the band. I was always Hanneman, Lombardo, Araya, Kerry King, and there was just something about him that didn't strike me right. But Kerry King was 25% of one of my all-time favorite bands, so I couldn't resist to check this out. Now, the cover is everything you expect from Kerry King. It's a demon with 4 horns, red colors, upside down cross. It screams metal at you. And with him in the band are Mark Osugueta, who was the singer in Death Angel, or still is, I think, actually, and Paul Bostaph on drums, that has been with him in Slayer previously, and Phil Demmel on guitars, that was in Machine Head, and he has, played with a lot of other people as well. And then Kyle Sanders, who was in Hell Yeah with the guy from Pantera. So the album kicks off with sort of like an intro song called Diablo, and then it comes like 3 songs in a row that are really like packed with aggression and energy and stuff like that, and I really like it, but it's straight out of the playbook. There is nothing really new here. I mean, there is a guitar solo though in the song Where I Reign, which is, after like 2 minutes, it's a little bit kind of goes off the beaten Slayer path, so it's not that usual uncomfortable Slayer solo, it's a little bit less uncomfortable solo. But in some way, these 3 songs in the beginning, they take me back to this, Divine Intervention, maybe God Hates Us All, Christ Elysium somehow, and the singing is very much in that vein that Tom Aray was doing on those albums as well. I personally really like the vocals on this, and it's clear to me what Kerry King actually wanted here. He got a singer that could kind of sing in the vein that Tom Aray could. It's some sort of a despair that adds a lot of dimension to the songs. Now, the sound and the mix of this album is good. The only thing I would say is that I don't really hear the bass very much. It's in song 12, Shrapnel, that I kind of really noticed the bass. But that was kind of to be expected, because we're talking about 2 great guitar players, Phil Demmel and Kerry King himself. And what I like that they do on their guitar work is that it's a little bit kind of unpredictable, in the sense that it's not the usual standard Slayer unpredictable solos, uncomfortable unpredictable solos. It's more sometimes melodic, sometimes unpredictable. So they made the unpredictable even more unpredictable, and I think that's a really nice thing. The drums from Paul Bostaph is kind of just spot on. There is nothing groundbreaking here. He's kind of just doing more of the same that he did before. He's maybe a little bit further back in the mix, I feel. Overall, listening to this album, I feel that it drops off after like 6 songs, and there are like songs from like 7 to up to 12 or something that just don't get me. I actually zoned out when I was listening to this. That's bizarre, given that this is Kerry King. And amongst those songs are songs like Tension that never really seems to start. There is a punk rock song called Two Fist, some misfits on the album somehow. And if I had to pick 3 songs that are good off this album for me, then it's Where I Reign, From Hell I Rise, and Idle Hands. Those 3 are bangers for me. So overall on this album, there are no adventures here. They have been upfront and open about it, that this is a continuation of Slayer. There's probably even some songs that Kerry had written before, whatever. So it brings very little new to the table, I have to admit that. Now, the pros of this album is that it has a great drive in a lot of the songs. It would be good for mosh pitters. I think all of this stuff, I was thinking about that when I was listening, this stuff will be good live. Great guitars, great vocals, nothing wrong with that. And nice solos. I like that they add a little bit of a spice to what we know from Kerry King and his past into this album. Now, the negatives, it's too long. It could easily have been 3 to 4 songs shorter than it actually is. Nothing new, as I said. There's no groundbreaking stuff on this album. It's almost like he wanted to keep Slayer going, but he couldn't convince the rest of the guys to do so, so he just started a band called Kerry King, and he's playing Slayer songs or similar songs. And I feel that with a different song order, they could have made this album more balanced with the listening from start to finish. You wouldn't have had this high, low, high. You could have kept it a little bit more even to kind of keep the engagement somehow. So I'm actually gonna give this album 7.5 out of 10. So for me, this album is a lot about what Slayer became after Divine Intervention. 2 to 3, 4 maybe good songs, and the rest was stuff that I skipped. So this is not Slayer 2.0. This is a continuation of Slayer without the original members of Slayer somehow. Now, I would be very happy if you'd like this video and subscribe to my channel for more album reviews, concert reviews and interviews. And then I want to turn your attention to this video here. I did an interview with Dave Ellefson from Megadeth the other day, and I went to his concert and everything, so check that stuff out here. And then I have Judas Priest, the Invincible Shield album review that I just did a few weeks ago.